Looking for a true look into Old Florida? Come experience the excitement at the Sumter County Farmers Market, featuring our flea market and cattle auction in small town Webster. Shop hundreds of vendors offering antiques, fresh produce, tools, clothing, and collectibles, plants, and one-of-a-kind treasures you'll never know you'll find. And don't forget the action-packed cattle auction, where buyers and sellers gather each week as part of one of Florida's most respected livestock markets. From quality cattle to honest service and a strong market atmosphere, we're proud to serve Florida's agricultural community. Whether you're hunting for bargains, stocking up on fresh goods, expanding your herd, or just enjoying a day out with family and friends, there's something for everyone at the Sumter County Farmers Market. Come see why people from all over Florida make Webster their destination every week.
Welcome back to another edition, a special edition of the Goblay Show. I'm your host, Billy Goblay, and today's, our location here is live, well, not live, but live now at the Webster Farmers Market. It's the flea market here in Webster, Florida, and I am joined by several guests today. I got our first guest is, I'll figure out what she does exactly. I don't want to call her out, but she's a great person, a good friend of mine. Please help me welcome to the stage, and not stage, I mean podcast, Shelby Kinsler. Shelby, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
You know, it's loud.
Yeah, it is.
But it looks good out here.
Yeah, and you get used to the noise.
It's a beautiful day.
It is.
It's a beautiful day here in Webster. Just taking all the sights and sounds. I'm just kidding, everybody. All right, let's get down to it. How is everything? How's life? How's your neck of the woods going?
Going great.
What is something that you like? I in the intro, I kind of messed up your intro, but yeah, I'm sorry about that. What exactly do you do here at the market?
So my title now is assistant manager, and basically just managing day-to-day operations, assisting managing day-to-day operations. And we have the flea market and the cattle market, and just trying to keep the history alive here.
Yeah, there's a lot of history here. Correct me if I'm wrong. The market started in the 1930s.
1937 is when it was incorporated.
1937 to be exact. Mm-hmm. I did not have that on my bingo card. That's why I said 30s, but I was pretty close.
Yeah.
I was in that decade. They've been going on a long time, almost 100 years, quite a bit. And what makes the Webster Flea Market so special that keeps people coming back every Monday?
I think it has to do with the local ties to the farmers market. It was founded on the locals. It's a co-op, so it is owned by a membership, and those memberships are people that live in Sumter County. So I really feel that it's special because it keeps that local history alive and the generations together, keeping them to come together.
Yeah, there's a lot of history here. Like I said, there's 100 years almost here, and I've heard stories way back in the day how the market itself was up on a platform.
Yeah,
at one
produce
point.
shed.
The produce shed was on the platform, so they could just back the trucks right up and unload. Marvin Fussell told me all about that.
Oh, I'm sure he did.
And he was a true Webster legend.
Yes, he was. Marvin, he still is.
Yes, he still is. His legend and legacy carries on, especially here at the market. You can drop his name and it'll get you a good parking spot. Just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Don't do that.
Do you know who I know? Now, and then of course Bud, his son, Marvin Jr.
Yes.
Bud is he still market president?
He is. He's the chairman.
He's the chairman. So he's been doing that for quite some time. So it's definitely a family tradition. Mm-hmm. So like you said, it ties in with the history and the legacy of not just farmers and not just cattlemen, but for the community itself.
Yes, exactly.
when you say, hey, you want to go to the flea market, but we got to go on Monday, and they go, why? Why Monday? What do you tell people?
That's the way it's always been. But then I read the history book the other day and come to find out that's not the way it's always been. It changed in the 40s. It actually, I was reading it the other day, started on Monday nights for the locals because they worked, and so that way they could come to the flea market. And then it was on Tuesdays, and our livestock sale used to be on Fridays. But they switched all around. It got so popular they were able to open all day on Mondays and then didn't need to open on Tuesdays. It's just always been an attraction that has drawn people in. Now I think it's harder in this economy and people having to work, but holidays really bring it back to really people feeling like it used to be.
Yeah, I was going to say it's awful hard to compete in a world that I can order something on Amazon and it's at my front door. Oh, hey, thank you. Oh, thank you so much. I just got you never know what's going to happen here in the middle of the podcast.
Especially when you came back to your hometown.
I know, especially. But you could just like I said, you could order something. Man, that was almost poetic.
I know, right?
Gee, I wonder if I could get me a green pack. Oh my gosh, there it is on my front doorstep. But no, it's hard to compete in a world where it's so instamatic and everything is you want it now, you want it right now, and nobody wants to wait for anything. And but you can come back here and you can get kind of a nostalgic feel of what it was like.
Yeah.
Not in the 40s, but I can go to the market and I just relive these childhood memories of coming to the market. It's like anywhere else.
Yeah, exactly. And here, you can buy your stuff online, but especially the stuff that people that handcraft here, you get to meet the person that made it instead of just, ordering it and never just seeing a picture, if that, but getting to meet the people that sell the things and create it and see that you're supporting their livelihood. It's really special.
Speaking of special, how long have you been personally connected to the flea market? How long have you, not just working, but I know you started here how long ago?
So I'm working on my 15th year of working here. But I grew up in Webster, so I was always around and came up sometimes. Definitely avoided Webster when I was younger on Mondays because the traffic was so bad it took hours to get through.
True. And you were always late to school, right?
Always what?
Always late to school.
Always late to school. No, Mom went through Center Hill, but I was also homeschooled. So.
Well, hey, that's it's not good when you're late for homeschool.
Listen. I'm a third grade dropout, and after that, I was definitely always late for school.
Yes, but you know what? You came from a good family that you were able to, you didn't have to go to public school, and so. Having that family, that positive family around you, made you want to go out and come here and work at the market.
Yes.
And to interact with people. I know you're a people person, so that does help.
Yes.
Is there anything at this market that's one of your favorite things? Like if somebody is watching this and they've never been to the Webster Flea Market, what is something that they could that you could tell them hey, you need to come and do this or see this person. They have this or that.
There's just so many variety of things to see on a Monday.
Yeah.
It's cool to walk down the produce shed and be able to buy the produce, good produce, and not in the grocery store. And then our wee flea area with the roll-up doors and the antiques and the mixture of things that are in there is pretty cool. But honestly, I just kind of like a little bit of everything everywhere. You just never know what you're going to stumble upon. And one thing I find fascinating is if there's something that's trending on TikTok, it's going to be here. people say, oh, I'm going to all the stores to find this, and you can walk around the flea market and find it at every other booth. So I just find it so comical, and like just seeing people try to, beat people down at the stores, trying to get these. Right now is the Neatos and the Squishies, and they're everywhere. If you walk around, the dumplings, like they have them, and you can come to the flea market and support these people, that are out here doing that, and not have to, fight people for a squishy.
I don't even know what a squishy is. Could you elaborate on that?
You don't know what a squishy is?
No, I really don't. I think my son wanted one, but I was like, I don't even know what it is. I can't even supply it.
It's honestly just a piece of plastic or silicone filled with some goo that squishes.
So it's like a fidget.
Like it's a fidget thing. That's
okay.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
Yeah, and it was. I don't know if you remember the fidget spinner phase.
Oh yes.
Oh, the flea market had every cool fidget spinner.
Yes, when I was growing up, it was butterfly knives and like sports cars. Like everywhere you went, or Pogs. Do you know what Pogs are? Pogs. It's Pogs. P-O-G-S. Pogs. It was little. So it's these little cylinder, like it's like a what is that? Like a Kennedy, a $50 or a dollar coin. They look like that, about that size, and they were made out of. I want to say they were made out of like a hard material, like kind of like a thick cardboard, and then you play these slap games where you'd slam them down, and you'd stack them up, and you had like one big one. So it looked like a sewer cap.
Vaguely.
Probably weighed as much.
Vaguely, it sounds familiar, but I can't place it.
Yeah, it was one of those things where you pile them up, and then whatever you slap, whatever fell down, that's what you kept. So it was like a game, but they ended up turning it into like a collector's thing.
Oh.
Kind of like Beanie Babies,
Pokemon cards.
Pokemon cards is getting little. Yeah, and then I can remember coming to Webster, back in the 90s, and you would, like you said, everything got a little bit of everything, and you go down these stalls, and you walk down, and you go, oh, this guy's got basketball cards, oh, this guy's got knives, and this person's got a quarter stick of dynamite. It's like, it was, and now they all go hand in hand.
Yeah, exactly.
I think. I don't know what that was doing there, but maybe for agricultural purposes, I don't know.
Yeah, it scare away
My dad
predators.
said they would blow tree stumps out of the ground with quarter sticks of dynamite. So I mean, maybe they were using it for a good thing. I don't know.
I think they frown upon that now.
I do believe that. I haven't seen him since the 90s.
Yeah, well.
Since Clinton was in office. But, speaking of vendors, what kind of vendors are you, are they from all over, or are they just all local people?
They are from everywhere. Everywhere. And that is also really cool, especially working here for so long. I've met pretty much anybody and everybody from every nationality across the world. I've met either shopping here or selling here, selling all their different things. Yeah.
It's funny is used to, I would say, they're like, where are you from? And I'm like, I'm from Webster. And they're like, oh, the flea market. And so that was like, it was nationally known.
Oh yeah.
Like you could say you're from Webster, or do you know where the Webster flea market is? And they're like, yes, I do. We've been there. And then you go, well, that's where I live, or I'm around that area. And so a lot of people, even though you might have been in another state, they knew where you lived. They knew,
yes.
They knew. What is something that you like when you first started here? Was it what was your expectations when you first got here? Like, was it just like you thought it would be, or was it more than you thought it would be?
Definitely more. I honestly don't know what I think I was expecting, but I was also only 18 starting out. I worked here and there, other places, but I knew it was a flea market, but like I said, we kind of avoided the place, for a long time because it was just so crowded, and that it was miserable to come through Webster as a local if you didn't have a need to come to the flea market, especially living down the street from Fussell Farms. So I didn't have to come here to get my produce. I could just go to the farm and get my produce.
You went right to the table.
Yes, just went right to the table. So I didn't know what I was going to get into, and it was way different than I thought, and it was pretty cool. I keep the people, meeting different people is what kept me here.
Yeah.
It's just cool, the walk of life here and meeting all the different people. Some of it is difficult to work with, I think that's naturally anywhere, but when you have so many different personalities and nationalities, it's definitely throws you for a curveball, but I enjoy it.
Yeah, it's definitely something that you have to get accustomed to. Like you said, you're dealing with all kinds of different walks of life, and it's not always a negative experience, but it could be a learning experience.
Yes, for sure.
And that just helps you become a better person.
Yeah.
If you stay in your little bubble all your life, you'll never get to experience things outside of life. That's why I'm glad I went to Orlando for a little while in my early days, and got to experience, like, you know, different restaurants, or different this, or meeting new people, different nationalities, or whatever, and it helped me. I don't want to say I'm cultured, but it helped culture myself. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I understand a little more about other cultures than I did before.
You know, that is definitely something that you learn here, working here and being around. And I like being a better person. I feel like it helps teach you to have patience for other people, which I have lots of patience, but it's helped me understand them. And so when I'm not here and I'm out, you know, even if you just go to Orlando or Tampa, it feels like a different world anyway.
Yes.
But don't get quite as frustrated with people because I've dealt with them for so long. You know, I understand there's barriers, language barriers, and, you know, they're trying to adapt just like we are.
Yep. Well, I was going to say, anytime you're dealing with the public, it's always it's hard sometimes because you're trying to accommodate what they need, but it doesn't always work out so well.
No.
And you try your best, but it's, like I said, you don't always succeed, but, you know, you just got to keep on trying.
Yeah, you can't make everybody happy, and that's something that I've definitely had to accept here.
Yeah.
Because you can't make everybody happy, especially when you have hundreds of vendors that you're dealing with on a weekly basis. And I would love if I could make every single person happy here and not upset anybody, because that would just make my day that I made their day, because I love to make people's day. But it just comes with the job, I guess.
Well, yeah, and you know, I think that's such a big key in life is once you figure out that you can't make everybody happy. I think that's such a big step. Like, you learn so much, because you are trying to be that person, trying to be, like, when you're growing up, you always want to be the helper.
Yeah.
You want to be the teacher's helper. You want to be helpful.
I definitely was my teacher's favorite.
Show me that was your mom.
Yeah, exactly. It was a competition between me and my brother. I definitely was a favorite.
That is awesome. I hope he hears this.
He will. I'll be sure to send it to him. I'll find the time, the clip time. I'm still the favorite.
I don't doubt that.
Actually, my husband is my mom's favorite child now. Ask any child.
He's already moved up.
Oh yeah, he came into the family and was like, "Bam, favorite child status. Whatever Brett wants is what Brett gets."
Yeah, son-in-laws they're always trying to get, you know, they're trying to make a statement, but they're also trying to be like,
be the favorite child.
Yes.
Have you succeeded yet?
I don't know that. I don't know. No, I'm just kidding. My mother-in-law's great. She gives me a hard time, and it's just part of the deal.
Yeah.
It's part of the deal. I would say, let me go back to the market and say, if somebody has never been to the market, like, what's a good time to come for your first time? Like, what's a good time to visit? Because you don't want to be here when it's, you know, it's like a theme park almost. You know, like, are there any ins and outs?
So if you had to pick a holiday, mine would be Martin Luther King Jr. Day. It is in January. Generally, the weather is decent. You're not going to sweat because you're going to be walking a lot. I mean, you're going to sweat, but it may be hot, but it's at least a little bit better than 95 degrees at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
If not a holiday and you can come any Monday, any time between November and January, It's good. Most of the vendors are here. That's when we're our full list. It's season is what we call it, and it's just a great time. Everybody's, not in a bad mood because it's the holiday season, and they are. There's a lot of different things to buy here. A lot of people like to sell themed items, so they have it's perfect gift place, because where else are you gonna? Other people aren't gonna go to a flea market to buy Christmas presents.
True.
So it's a perfect place to. Yes, it's a perfect place to come get those gifts or get those trendy items and that kind of stuff that they can grab for cheap. If you have a lot of kids or grandkids, you can buy them by the dozen on the wholesale lot. So, it definitely is a cool place. And in the winter time too, in the season, it's more pleasant weather.
Now, are you guys in the west side are all together, correct? Or is that separate?
No, we're two different markets.
Okay. It's two different markets, but that's good to let everybody know.
Yes.
Because I had no idea. So, what I'm talking about, guys, is there's the front half of the market, which is where the cattle are and the produce and everything, and then there's a road, literally a road that separates the two, and the other side is called the west side, and
it's named now the Webster Swaporama. It was called Webster West Side for years.
Oh, it'll always be the
west side. We're the east side.
We're the east side boys.
We're the original.
We're the OG.
We are actually the original, and there's a lot of little markets built around us that kind of capitalized off of it, which can't blame them.
Right.
And a lot of paid parking lots. So if you pull into our property, you do not pay to park.
Gotcha.
And we have
to be early.
You have to be here early to get that, and we have parking attendants out there that are helping keep it very much more organized than it used to be.
Gotcha.
And but then everything outside of that, it's not our property and not our responsibility.
That is,
we say that a lot every Monday.
There's a lot of truth to that, because a lot of people just assume
we're at one big thing.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Well, and I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't know that till now.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, I didn't know, because I didn't know the ins and outs, and I'm glad I asked that, because that's very helpful in case I need to tell somebody else that's never been there, like, oh, is that part of the deal? And they're like, yeah, they're all together. No, not anymore. They separated.
No, I just like to tell people that we're right off 471. The confusion gets, especially the people that come off 75. They come down that road, and that's the first market they see. So you can't say it's the first market you see. It's the market off 471, Sumter County Farmers Market.
Question for you: early bird, like to get here early, or be a late one of those the late shopper? Which one do you think would be more beneficial?
Early. Yeah, there's a potential people are going to sell out. People get too hot, they want to go home. We try to ask all the vendors to stay till 2, but they're working on it.
Yeah.
But they don't usually. So especially like if you want to get produce, I wouldn't come here anytime after 12. You're going to get a very minimal crowd.
Yes. And everything's kind of been already picked over.
Yeah, it's been picked over, nothing good. Yeah, it's definitely hit it early. Not too early, because vendors are trying to set up.
Yeah.
But at least around this time, 8 o'clock.
I was going to say, especially for produce, you want to get here early, because it's where all the everything's fresh.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter if you're at home, at the flea market, at Publix. It sits on the counter for over a couple hours.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It's not as it was when it first came out.
Yes, exactly.
So there's always an advantage of being an early riser. I tell my wife that all the time, but she says, don't talk to me unless I have my coffee. So.
Yeah.
Are you an early riser?
No. I mean, I have to be if I have my choice now. Never was into it, but now I have a toddler.
Yeah, well, then you have no choice, right?
Yeah, no, I don't have a choice, but.
Well, Shelby, we're gonna go ahead and take a little commercial break, and then when we come back, we're gonna bring our next guest out. Shelby, thank you so much for joining us, and I appreciate your time. And if you guys ever come back to the market and you see Shelby, please say hello. And she's out here running around like a chicken with her head cut off.
Pretty much.
But
I will stop to say hi though.
She will. She always takes the time. And you know what, guys? We'll be right back after this. If you want an energy drink that tastes like a reward, check out Big B Energy Drinks. 3 delicious flavors: strawberry smash, white cherry fizz, and summer melon. Super refreshing, super smooth. It hits the caffeine sweet spot, 80 milligrams per can, made for the people who want something more than soda, but don't need the 300 milligram energy drink full of jitters. It has a smooth onset with no crash at the end. And the best part, no artificial colors. It's the kind of energy drink that you grab on the way to work, before the gym, or anytime you need to lock in and get something done. Take a sip, thoughtfully crafted, masterfully mixed. You can order online at bigbenergy.com. Use promo code GOBLAY10 to save 10% at checkout.
Catfish Johnny's Restaurant, served at Lake Panasoffkee and surrounding areas since 1990. For the last 34 years, we have strived to serve great food at good prices and a friendly, casual atmosphere. If seafood isn't your thing, our wings and burgers are the best around. We have our daily specials too. We are open Wednesday through Saturday. Check us out on Facebook or Instagram for more information.
Webster Ace Hardware and Farm Supply are generous sponsors for today's podcast. They have been a family-owned business for 27 years. This helpful hardware store sells items such as archery, Ariat clothing and boots, Wrangler jeans, case knives, Hammond's candies, and live fishing wear. They also have a full selection of hardware, RV supply, propane, Ben Moore, Royal & Clark, and Kingston paints. You need a barn or fencing job done? Custom barn kits and roofing metal are provided at your local Ace Hardware store. What about a new grill for the yard? Traeger, Big Green Egg, Weber, and Blackstone are found here, along with all the accessories to go with them. Stock up your workshop with DeWalt, Milwaukee, or Craftsman tools. They got you covered. Remember to go to ace.com to shop their entire line to have items shipped directly to the store. All right, guys, we're back, and today joining me is on the second part is General Manager Curtis Tillman. Curtis, welcome to the show, buddy.
Hey, thank you for having us and coming out today.
How's it going?
It's going good. It's a busy day. It's hot, but the sun's out, so it's a good day.
Good. How long have you been with the market?
I've been with the market a little over a year.
Okay. And where are you from originally?
I'm originally from Lakeland, Florida.
Lakeland. Okay, so you're not too far away.
No, sir.
Not too far away. And what brought you up this way from Lakeland?
So about 5 years ago, my wife and I moved up this way to get away from the overgrowth that Lakeland has become, live a little bit more of a rural life. We had the opportunity to buy a farm and start our own cattle operation there, doing direct to consumer. So just to get out in the rural area to raise our children and get away from the hustle and bustle.
Are you have more to do on the cattle side than you do on the flea market side? I mean, I'm sure you have both, but a little bit more on the cattle side?
So on the cattle side, for the market, Sumter County Farmers Market, it's 50-50 flea market, but I have more in my personal life on the cattle side. I'm currently the cattleman president for Sumter County, and I am also part of Class 12 of the Florida Cattlemen's Leadership Academy, which I'll be graduating in June from.
Is Webster a place that you've always, have you been here growing up? I mean, you're only an hour away, so you couldn't be too far, but is Webster a place that you frequently, visit as a child or a kid growing up?
So, yes, sir. I remember, early 90s being at not Bevel's Corner, but Terrytown, and taking almost 45 minutes to get to a Monday market, coming here with my grandfather to go shopping. I used to buy a lot of toys here when I was a kid at the flea market, so very familiar with it. And when the opportunity came up for a job here, I jumped on it just because of the history of the market.
Gotcha. Yeah, and I was going to ask you, growing up, like you said, in the 90s, I was telling Shelby just a minute ago that, it was hard to get into the market, and it was, you had that 6 mile backed up lane on 471, and that was a staple of Monday mornings, trying to get to school, or work, and you're like, oh my gosh, we're going to go through Webster, and coming to the market.
Yep.
What is how important is this market to local community, the local community, and the economy?
So for the local community and the economy, I think it's very important. We provide jobs for people in this area, especially on our cattle side. A lot of the people we employ are people that may not be able to get a job in a corporate type setting, but it gives them somewhere to work. And since I've taken over management here, I've tried to gear a lot around our employees to give them incentives, giving them extra training to make them better. A lot of these guys, haven't never left Sumter County. This is all they know. So recently I've worked with the board so we can start sending guys to training to invest in our employees and make this a better place for them to work. And, for the economy, Webster, this flea market is what makes Webster, in my opinion. Without the cattle market or the flea market, I don't think Webster would be what it is today.
Yeah, there's a lot of truth to that. There's, like you got this staple in the community that's been there. Like we were talking to Shelby and how people, I could go out of state, they're like, well, where are you from? And I say, Florida, and they say, where at? And I go, Webster, and I go, oh, that's where the flea market is.
Yep.
And so coincide with where you live, it was a big staple, not only just to our community, but in nationwide as well.
Absolutely.
We were talking about the 90s, growing up, and what are some things that you've seen that have changed but are for the good at the market since the 90s?
So some of the change, the flea market is turning more into that farmer market feel. I think that's the new niche right now is farmers markets as opposed to flea markets. Our produce shed, it falls more in that. We have our Friday night event every first Friday of the month, which is more of a farmers market feel, which brings in new clientele. It also exposes us to people that may not normally come here on a Monday to say, let me check it out on Monday because this was such a great event. Let me see what Monday's about. We do have challenges, unfortunately, of the indoor antique stores that are air conditioned, and vendors can kind of just leave their items there. They don't have to actually show up on a daily basis. So that's a challenge we have here. But the vendors that we currently have, we were talking to a vendor the other day. They've been here since 1987, and they're sticking it through the good times, the bad times. But overall, I think the vendors we have are what keeps us going, and that's the positive, and they all bring in new items all the time. So it's not your traditional flea market like we would have had in the 90s, where a lot of antique stuff. Antiques to me today is a Nintendo or a Switch. It's not the saw or an old tool. The antiques today are different than the antiques that we're probably familiar with. But I think the market overall, with the vendors we have, they're bringing in new ideas, and we plan to do new ideas here to draw attention, activities, and things like that.
It doesn't matter if you're at the flea market, you're at Disney World, you're at any other establishment. You have to keep up with today's current times and what everybody's into. Yeah. And there's a nostalgic feel, but there's also, you got to keep up with the Joneses. And sometimes the Joneses are hard to keep up.
Oh yeah.
But I think it's successful for everybody to kind of try to keep up, because there's a lot of people that I'm sure you've seen Joe Dirt, the movie, when he's like the fireworks salesman, and he's like, well, why do you only have snakes and sparklers? And he's like, well, that's all I like. And but that's not what everybody else likes. Yeah. You got to get what the consumer wants.
Oh yeah.
So is there something that having said that, Shelby hit on some things like there's a lot of things. If you're into TikTok stuff, we got a bunch of stuff out here. Is there something that specifically that if somebody's looking for, can you give us a couple ideas what they could find out here?
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of things you can find out. It's a modge podge of things, I guess you could say. We have a tool guide that has great tools, new, used tools. You have, if you're looking for work clothes and you don't want to pay the retail price for work shirts, we have, I believe it's on our C shed, we have a section that it's, I think, 18 rows or booths that one vendor has leased out, and they sell, the high-vis shirts. if you're looking for your backyard chickens to start your own backyard chicken operation, we got people that sell chickens and quail. There's a little bit of everything for everybody.
Yeah.
Jewelry, you want produce, we have produce. And I think that's what kind of separates us from our other local markets in Webster is we do have the produce side of things.
Yeah.
And we do allow other things like the chicken sales or the dog sale. So there's a little bit of everything. You know, I have a guy down about 100 yards from us that sells colognes and lotions, and, you know, we have Mary Kay. So we have a little bit of everything. So it's not a one-stop shop for people. And if you're into wholesale, you know, you're looking to be a vendor yourself, we have a whole wholesale section where you can buy stuff and do a resell and things like that as well.
You know, you hit on a thing, and I want to bring that back up. You know, people think when they see a farmer's market, you know, I go to different, we just came back from the beach not long ago, and they had like this little farmer's market, and I'm thinking, farmer's market, I'm thinking like this market.
Yeah.
And it's never the same. You know, it's and I guess it's because all these years I've been so used to, you know, coming here and you had such a wide variety of things that when you go elsewhere, it's like, that's not the same. Like, that's not what you say it is.
Yeah. So, yeah, and I agree with that. And I think a lot of the misconception is, you know, today's what we call a farmer market today is that, you know, sourdough bread and the honeys and the produce and, you know, a few boutique vendors and maybe some food trucks where, you know, Sumter County Farmers Market is what the way I like to explain it is we are the mother of two different things. We have the Sumter County Livestock Sales, which is our Tuesday livestock sale, and then we're the original Webster flea market.
Right.
So Monday, to me, I feel we are a true flea market. We're not so much a farmer's market per se. We have farmer market things like the produce, but we are a flea market, and but we invite everybody, you know, and we love seeing the snowbirds when they're here, you know, the people from the villages when they come down. We love seeing everybody's face, and we hope they enjoy their time here.
What is speaking of time, what is a great time? I asked Shelby the same thing, but I'd like to get other people's opinions. If you were somebody who had never been here before and they're like, I've never been here the first time, what's a good time to come down to this flea market, and in your opinion?
So traditionally our winter months are our busier months. That's when we have a lot more vendors, because a lot of our vendors are seasonal. They're snowbirds themselves, so they travel from out of state. They have their winter homes here. So that's our busiest time. But all throughout the year, if you can, handle the Florida heat, we always have vendors here, and we do encourage people to come. And we're trying something new this year. We've consolidated a few of our sheds to where our sheds look full, and then wintertime, if we need to reopen them, we can. Because I think a lot of times people come and visit, especially during the summertime, and they're like, well, there's no vendors there because there may be a dozen on one shed and a dozen on another. It makes us look empty, when in reality we have 300-400 vendors here.
Yeah.
It's just because we're such a big market. We're roughly 25 to 30 acres of vendor space. We're 40 acres in total, but vendor space, we're at that 25 to 30 acres. So when they're spread out during the summer, it looks empty when really we have a good amount. So what we're trying to do this year is to kind of consolidate them. I know it is a challenge for some vendors, especially ones that have been here for a long time, because a lot of customers know where they're at. So we're trying to work with those vendors by our social media. We have a newsletter that we send out, and even just putting signage up in the spots that they may have been in to let people know, hey, they're in this shed now, in this spot, because we don't want to hurt them either. Our vendors, this is their livelihood.
Right.
And the way I look at it is, if I don't have vendors, I don't have a job. So I do everything in my power to make sure my vendors are happy and that they're being taken care of, because if they're being taken care of, then I'm being taken care of, and so is my staff. But my vendors are my first priority.
I was going to say, and doing that, that's what keeps people coming back every week, with the consistency of having the people in the right spots. And I have noticed that over the years, and it could be people could go on a whim and go, you know what, I'm going to try the flea market out and sell this one week, and they may not be there for 4 or 5 weeks.
Yep.
So sometimes you can't base where they are consistently.
Yeah.
But it's nothing that you guys can do. It's all based on the vendor. And remember going back and I try to tell somebody, yeah, go to shed so-and-so or shed number 4 and look about halfway down on the right-hand side and there's a person there. Well, they might not be there for 6 weeks, or they might move up closer because someone's no longer either wanting to sell or they're not doing it anymore. And so you guys move them closer toward the front. Because we've had, like you said, we've got people out here that have been here forever.
Oh yeah.
So who do you know of that? Like, can you give an idea of like who, as far as vendor wise, some of your consistent, like the most consistent vendors that are here?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have Dave Navarro, who again is on the shed that we're doing this lovely podcast on. He's here all year round. He sells a lot of your grocery type items. I call them secondhand items. I shop from him. He's consistent all year. We have I don't want to butcher their names, Anwar, they're on our wholesale, but they sell wholesale items. And then we just moved one of our vendors from our O shed to shed 1. It's 2 brothers. They've been here since 1987. I kind of hinted to them earlier, but they sell hats and different little knickknacks. And the spot that we moved them from to consolidate, like I said, they've been there since 1987, so their customers know where they're at. We were very fortunate that the shed we moved them to was just 1 shed over, and we were able to put them at pretty much the same location they were on their old shed. So we believe that it'll be easy for their customers to find them because they're essentially in the same spot, just 1 shed over. But we do have quite a few vendors that are here year round. Most of our produce vendors are here year round. We have a key guy who makes keys. If you have a vehicle that allows him to program keys, he can program keys. So if you have a fob, he's here year round. So we have, I would say, 40% of our vendors that are permanent vendors are here year round.
I was going to say, what is, if you could give me one, and I like the good and the bad because I want to give people the full experience if they've never been here. But in your opinion, what is something that what's the biggest misconception, I would say, before somebody ever gets here that you've heard them say?
The biggest misconception I've heard is that we're closing. A lot of people think we're closing. The rumor gets spread around a lot that this market's closing. Our market's not closing. If anything, we're opening in a new chapter. We have updates and repairs that are coming. Like in the front, we're tearing down that chain link fence and putting a 4-board fence up to kind of replicate what the fairgrounds looks like, and make it more inviting. Doing the same in the back. Trying to make our market look more inviting and let people know that we're here and we're here to stay. I don't think we're going to go anywhere. We've been here since 1937. We're the oldest market in the state. A big misconception, though, is the Swaparama, which is behind us. I'll give them a plug right now, but a lot of people think we are them and we're them, and vice versa. So it's a double whammy because if they have a bad experience over there, a lot of times it reflects on us. Or outside on our north end, we have a big wholesale market that is separate from us. Again, if people have bad experiences there, it reflects on us because when people think of Webster markets, it's Sumter County Farmers Market 98% of the time that they're thinking of, even though we have 3 other markets that surround us.
Right. Well, I got to be honest with you. Until this morning, I thought the west side or the Swaparama was part of this market. So I am one of those people, and it's just one of those things where you're like, I didn't know that. You're thinking, like I told the people before, there's a road that separates it. So besides that road, there's no barrier.
Yeah.
There is another separate fencing, but it's, if you don't know, like you said, in the north side. But I also want to let everybody know that there are some buildings that you're building on the south side that have not been there. Is that's part of the market as well?
No, sir. So
see, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so the buildings on the south side that are along 478 there,
yes.
That's actually another.
See?
So anything that's outside our fence doesn't belong to us.
I got you.
It's just everything inside our fence. Like there's a big parking lot out there just outside our fence that we're fortunate that one of our food vendors that sets up here actually owns that and does allow us to use it time to time, but that's his own parking lot. Wow. And we don't own that. So
okay, yeah, I see, you learn something every day because again, I have you see the buildings all the time. You're like, well, it's in the parking lot, and I'm like, well, they park cars there, but again, a separate deal. And just so you know, like there are people out there, if you have a bad experience in any one of those other 3 places, it's not part of the market, but got to keep consistently trying. And, I mean, I've had bad experiences at Walmart, but I still keep going.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things we're going to try to do, especially when we update the fences, is, in the front, I want to do big archways over our entrances that, say Sumter County Farmers Market or the original Webster Market. And even in the back, I want to, I'm working on getting a big, not so much a billboard, but a big sign that, Sumter County Farmers Market, the original Webster, and have some of our, main vendors that we have here, like we have the gun vendors, or we have our Country Tap, which is our bar that the market owns, that we serve draft and bottle beer at. Let people, if they are on the other side, they right now they just see a fence, and I can see where they get that misconception is, Swaparama has a big sign that says Swaparama Webster West Side, and then they just cross a road, so they don't know they're walking into something different. So I want to get that signage, let people know. And like I said, the biggest thing is just making it more inviting to come. That curb appeal, I think, will help let people know, updating our sheds. And like I said, there's some things that Shelby and I have in the pipeline, working with our board of directors, that we want to implement. One thing I'll kind of let the cat out of the bag is I want to try to find a place where we can have a putt-putt golf. I was in Gainesville this week, and at the depot, which is an old train station, all they have is tents, and they have these boards that they've made putt-putt golf out of, and they can move them around. They can, if they need to move out of that location, they can stack them and move them. So I thought it was a great opportunity to build something like that here at the market. So when families do come, there's something for the kids to do. We've talked about having carnivals when they're on their downtime, bringing some of their rides here instead of them being stored and not running for 6 months out of the year. Bring them here and have a Ferris wheel or something. Just we want to make it more of a destination for our guests, than just a flea market, and that's some things we're working on.
Well, and that's the thing is, if you don't try, you'll never know. And it's always good to be, trying to, like I said before, whether you're a theme park, flea market, whatever, you're always trying to change something different to make it a different experience every time you come. A lot of people like that, a lot of people don't, but majority like it. They like a fresh, they want to come back and realize that things have changed a little bit, but for the better. I also want to talk about the cattle market, because that's a big, even myself, I've taken my livestock there, and it's another big staple in the community on Tuesdays. Tell us a little bit more about the cattle market and what it brings to our community as well, not just the local community, but like outside the community.
Yeah, absolutely. So the cattle market, it's dear to my heart. It's agriculture, but what cattle markets are more than just coming and selling your cattle. It's part of our supply chain, our national security. It's a place where the guy with 10 head and the guy with 2,000 head can all come together and sell their cattle at a fair market price. And you have people that are your local farmers that are buying, to the guys that are buying for your packing houses and your feedlots that are feeding families across America, not just locally here, but without the market, some of these smaller guys don't have anywhere they can take their cattle. If you have 10 head or fewer, you can't go up to Central and drop your cattle off and get a fair price for your thing. So when you bring this here, gives them a place to bring their cattle, market their cattle, and be part of the bigger picture. And without the local markets, your economy starts falling apart locally, because we don't only support Sumter County at this market. I have people that come out of Lake County, Pasco County. We even get people out of Polk County, and Polk County, there's a great market there, but the way Polk County is laid out, it's a large county, so it's easier for a lot of guys to bring their cattle here, because the further they have to travel, the more shrink that they see in their cattle. So for those who don't know what shrink is, it's the weight that they lose, from the stress, not eating or drinking for that ride. And just a small ride, even if it's an hour or a half hour, those cattle are losing weight during that time. So, and the weight is the biggest thing when they sell their cattle, because that's what we sell them by. It's by the hundredweight. So the more weight that they keep losing, that price point for that producer could be going down. It may not be significant in some points, but in other points it could be if they have to drive an hour, 2 hours to take their cattle. If this market was to ever not be here, which I don't think that'll ever be a thing, but you always have to think of that.
True, and it's amazing how much livestock can lose weight, and they could be the healthiest. I mean, it's nothing that you're doing negative to the cow. It's just the way they are.
Yeah.
It's just transporting them, and you got, like you said, you can take them from your yard or your pasture to the market, and they'll lose like 15, 20 pounds. I mean, it could be whatever. But it's amazing because we experience that a lot when we do the fair, and it doesn't matter if it's a pig, swine, or the show heifers or the beef, the steers. It's the weight that they potentially lose is just amazing. I would never have thought of that factored into the part that, the whole process. Like, that's what we got to make sure that this thing is, tip top, and then or a little extra, because they're going to lose a little bit of the weight going up there. But I've had nothing but great experiences here at the cattle market. It's a well-run ship. To be honest with you, I haven't been inside until I was probably in my 30s. And it's like really cool to go in there because, nowadays you can watch on TikTok or Facebook or whatever, and you can see you always see the wild cow in the corral. And I just saw one where the guy's in there with this, I don't even think it was a bull, it was just a heifer going crazy. He had to jump on the railing because it was trying to get him and you don't see that side. You don't see the whole production behind it. You just go, oh, I wonder how this cow gets from point A to point B, and it's a good thing here.
Yeah.
So what is something that I guess for our viewers who have never been there, can anyone just walk up in there on Tuesdays for the sale, or with the intent to buy, or how's that work?
Yes, I'm glad you asked that. And the one thing you said, a lot of people don't know, they see it sometimes from sitting in the arena, but that's all they ever see.
Yeah.
So one thing that I've tried to do since I've been here is do tours. We've had the cattle women come out. We've had a few churches. Some of the high school FFA and ag classes have brought their students here. So if anybody, I'm open to give a tour to anybody. But if somebody just wants to come and see without getting a full experience with us, walking around, showing them from the time we receive them, from the time they sell. Tuesday, at noon is when the sale starts. And anybody's welcome into the arena. You don't have to be a buyer or a seller. You can come in, get a seat. It's air conditioned, and just watch, how it goes. And it's amazing, all the moving parts, and it's not just 80% of the time it's just a cow going in the arena. She does her circles, or he does his circles if it's a bull or a steer, and they go out. But you do get those ones. We're in Florida. We got swamp cattle, and they're they may see a person once a year because they're living in the swamp, and they get here, and again, nothing that we're doing wrong, but they're stressed because they're hearing noises they're not used to. They're around people now.
Yes.
So they tend to be a little wilder, and it's a fun job, but it's a dangerous job. I'm currently sitting in a walking boot right now because I'm in the lane and didn't get up the fence fast enough, and unfortunately got my foot hit by a bull and crushed my foot. But it's part of the job. We do try to do everything we can to be as safe as we can. We do training with our employees now. And that's my biggest thing. I was a cop for many years and in the military, and when I was in leadership positions there, it was always, how am I going to get my officer home? How am I going to get my soldier home? And I never thought in the civilian world I would have a job where, how am I going to get my guys home or my gals home? But in the cattle side, it is a dangerous job, and I do everything I can to make sure we're doing what we can to be the safest we can.
Right.
Updating the way we may run cattle or move them them to be safer. If it's installing a mirror in a corner so we can see around a corner that we may not be able. But again, just like the flea market side, where my vendors are my number one priority, on my market side, those cattle are my number one priority, but so are my men and women that work for me.
Right. And it gets kind of, it's murky water when it comes to livestock anyways, because a lot of people, I brought up the misconception of different things, and there's a big misconception with the way livestock is treated. I don't know anybody in this county that mistreats their animals.
No.
It's not something that's on, shall I say, normality. And it's not something that we see all the time. There are times where you have to do things that you don't like. If a cow gets out, you've had cattle get out. That's part of it.
Yeah.
And that's why people go, I wonder why they have gates around that place. Well, have you ever chased a steer or a cow or a bull on foot? It's not very fun. And of course, you got a major highway out here. You got to be protective of people.
Yeah.
There's, a cow versus a car is not going to be a good sight. But I think a lot of people, I always say, I've heard this term before, and I always like to say it, is people don't care how the sausage is made. They just want to see, they want to eat the sausage.
Yeah.
They want to see the finished product. They don't care how it gets made. They don't want to see all that. They just want to see. So, but going back to that, if there's a great side to it, why not show it? Why not show? Because it's getting better with people. They're showing how to load cattle in a stress-free zone, and but it's no different from even if you went to SeaWorld, and they go, well, the animals are just not cooperating today. They're not mistreating those animals. They're just not wanting to cooperate.
Yeah.
Same thing with cattle. It's the same thing. They have a mind of their own. I always like to say it's like chasing a mine.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what they're going to do,
yeah.
and they're not going to. They're not going to let you know. But it's very beneficial. Everybody wants that steak or that hamburger, but they don't want to hear all that.
Yeah.
But that's part of it.
Yeah, that's just the nature of the industry. And, one thing I try to do is advocate for beef,
Yes.
Educating people, letting them know, most of these farmers, this is their livelihood. So if they mistreat their animals, they're losing money. So,
right.
99.9 of the producers that I know, their cattle come before them. There's producers I know that don't go on vacation because they have a cattle operation. They may go away for a day or two, but that's their vacation. It's a 24-hour day, 7 day a week. And you mentioned the gates out here. That's why we have them, is if cattle do get out of our barn. But farms are fenced and gated to protect the animals and the public. But these farmers are there, like I said, 7 days a week, 24 hours, because a fence gets broken, or somebody runs into your fence. If you're along one of these major highways in Sumter County, drunk driver or somebody not paying attention runs through your field and tears your fence down. Well, now all your cattle are out.
Exactly.
And that's your livelihood, and especially with cattle prices right now. When you have a 300-pound calf that's selling for $2,000, and you got 30 of them and 20 of them get hit by a cart, if you do the math, that's a big hit to your pocket, and it's a big hit to the economy, because again, a lot of these cattle are going to feedlots and then will be fed out and later become in our grocery stores. So when things like that happen, even on a small scale, it makes a big dent.
Right.
So it's all about safety. It's all about doing the right thing. And most of your producers out there, most of your producers are conservationists. Their number one thing is their animals and the land.
Absolutely.
So,
well, Curtis, I appreciate your time. And thank you so much for sitting down. I know you're busy, especially on a day like today, where it is very busy today. But I wish you continued success, and the market will strive, and just keep on doing what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. We appreciate you having us out, or having us on your show, and we hope to do some more of this and get the word out about the flea market and our cattle. And again, thank you for coming out.
Absolutely. All right, guys. guys. We'll be back in just a moment. Heifers is your one-stop shop for embroidered and printed hats, custom patch hats, and trending graphic tees that can be fully customized for you, your company, or your next big event. Whether you need a single design or a whole company's worth of branded gear, they've got you covered. Come see us at 110 Bushnell Plaza in Bushnell. Shop in-store or browse online anytime at thestitchingheifers.com.
Pat's Taps at Catfish Johnny's. Pat's Taps is Lake Panasoffke's only craft beer tap room, offering 12 rotating craft beers on tap. We also offer bottled domestic beer, seltzers, ciders, and wine, as well as a variety of appetizers and pub food. Our family-friendly tap room is a great place to hang out and enjoy some one-of-a-kind craft beer. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, or the Untapped app.
Whether your water is supplied by a public municipality or a private well, for residential or commercial use, Purified Water Services LLC has the solutions to provide you with simply clean water. We offer a complete line of professional water filtration equipment and accessories. Soft water makes a difference you can see and feel. Water heater and appliances last longer with less maintenance. Iron and H2S filters eliminate iron stains and offensive rotten egg odors and protects your water softener equipment from iron fouling. No matter what your problem is, Purified Water Services LLC has a solution. Contact Kenny Williams at 352-446-2709. If you're looking for real fun and adrenaline in Central Florida, head out to Bushnell Motorsports Park. It's a real outdoor go-karting track in Bushnell with high-speed rental karts that anyone can drive, no experience needed. You show up, they get you geared up, and you're racing. It's a great day to go out with friends, a great date, a great way to spend an afternoon. The high-speed karts are available to anyone 16 and older, and the junior karts are for anyone 10 and older. It's also one of the top spots in the area for corporate events and private parties, birthdays, bachelor parties, team building days, and company outings. They handle the whole thing. Track time, meeting room, trophies, the whole works. To learn more or to plan your race, visit BushnellMotorsportsPark.com. That's BushnellMotorsportsPark.com. All right, welcome back. And right now we have our third guest from the Webster Farmers Market. And I want to go ahead and just introduce her. Without further ado, we have Miss Lori Dodson. I want to make sure I said that right.
Yes.
Dodson. Lori, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
So, Lori, what is your job title? What exactly do you do?
So I'm the marketing coordinator, and it's actually cool because I'm the first person to ever have this title here at the market. I handle all of our social media and any new fun ideas, event coordinating, anything that is fun. Pretty much, I get to do here.
Oh, that's cool. I mean, anything fun, and everybody wants to have fun. So I mean, that's a cool job to have.
Yes, I get to come and take pictures and videos every day and just have fun.
Yeah. So where are you originally from? Are you from this area?
I'm from Webster, yes.
Oh, okay. So you grew up coming to the flea market. You know the history and everything and what it's all about. A lot of history here.
Yes, absolutely.
It's also very, very important to explain to people how long this market has been there. It hasn't been since, it wasn't an overnight deal. It's been here for quite a long time. We were talking about Shelby, almost 100 years.
Yeah, 89 years, yeah.
Oh, wow. Is there anything in the works for maybe the 90th coming up? Do we have any plans for that?
Ooh, I don't know that we've started planning it, but, we have 6 months to figure it out, so maybe we'll have something really exciting.
I was going to say, I don't want to jump the gun, but, you're still 10 years from that 100-year anniversary there. That'll be a cool deal.
Yes, I have been thinking about that.
I was going to say that might be a little bit more different. That's a bigger, celebration. 100 years it's a big to-do.
Yes, absolutely.
So, you grew up here all your life. Did you ever think you'd be working before the Webster Farmers Market?
So If I'm being honest, I didn't. My mom worked here for 12 years, and I needed a job after high school, so I started working here actually in one of the bathrooms, and then working at the cattle market on Tuesdays. And I actually got married, moved to Tennessee, and then went to South Korea, and came all the way back to my hometown, and decided to start working here again.
Wow, that's cool though. I mean, you went across the world to another country and then come back. And did you miss it at all while you were gone? I mean, not just Webster, but especially did you miss the States at all? I mean, it had to be different.
Yeah, it actually was. It was very hard, obviously the service members, it takes a toll on everybody, but not very many people think about the families. It is very hard on the families, especially, being in a different state, but also in a different country. You really find community in other service members and their families.
Yeah, my brother was Air Force, and I found out very quickly how close knit everybody was through Facebook. My mom was immediately on a Facebook group page, for servicemen or men and women, and they kind of kept, especially during like basic training. You had your the 8 weeks where you couldn't talk to anybody or to your loved one that's in the basic training, and they would send letters and call every once in a while, but it was like a daily occurrence, so that helped my mother cope with my brother being gone for that length of time, and it also kept her in touch with other moms or wives that were their loved ones. What was it like being over there? Where were you exactly in Korea? Where were you at?
So we were actually in Pyeongtaek. It's about 45 minutes away from Seoul, so we would occasionally go visit there, but a tiny base. We actually lived right off base, so we definitely got thrown into that culture, and let me tell you, it's a culture shock being in a different country. It really helped me personally. Being at the flea market, you get all those different cultures, and some of the people, English isn't their first language, so you really have to be patient, and getting that experience from me being in somebody else's country and not knowing their language, it helped me be more patient because I wanted them to be patient, and everybody was so sweet over in South Korea, so it really helped me, work here better, I feel like.
I was going to say, it helps when you, it helps you become more patient when you have to, because they don't speak English very, dominant.
Yes.
And you don't speak Korean dominant, so you guys coincide. It's like you kind of help each other out.
Yes, and Google Translate only helps very tiny.
Yeah, I was going to say that would be the only way I could. But I'd love to learn. I love to talk to people that are speaking of. There's a guy on TikTok. I don't know if you've seen him, and I don't know his handle, but he walks up and he goes, "I bet I can speak your language." I think he's an Asian guy, and he goes, "I bet I can speak your language." And the guy says, "I doubt it. I'm Nigerian," and he speaks Nigerian. And the guy's
crazy.
like, "What?" He's like, "Oh, I can't believe you just did that." And it's really cool.
Yes.
I mean, he's not going to carry on a conversation very long, but that's the way I feel like I like to do the same thing for them.
Mm-hmm.
So when you came back and you got this job here, what is something that you, what was one of the first things you were looking forward to?
Really being around my mom, because at that point she was one of the managers and I got to spend every day with her, and after being gone from family so long, it was really cool. But also all of the workers here are like family to me because I grew up around them, being in middle school and hearing all the cows on Tuesday, and I'd be like, "Oh, I know who's over there." So now, being around them every day, it's just like family.
What's funny is I've never said this on a podcast, but when I was in middle school, and I'm going to show my age, which was in the early 90s, I think 93, 94 was my 6th grade school year, we would run at PE. There was no fences around the middle school like there is now. We would run in PE class to the market
Really?
and come back. Like,
That is crazy.
Like, that's trust right there. Like,
Yeah.
That's something that you will never ever see ever again.
It was definitely a lot safer back then too.
Oh yeah. Well, and that's the thing is nobody really even thought anything that
Yeah.
was, remotely wrong with that. They're like, and you think about it, they're like, we just ran to the flea market.
It's really not that far.
Yeah. No, it's not far, but to have that happen.
Yeah, to go off of campus.
To go off of campus and you're like, whoa, what is going on right now?
Yeah, that's like whenever I was in high school, I think I was probably maybe the last year to be able to do it, but we used to get on the ag bus and go to Sumterville to their acres that they had the cows on and everything. And I don't even know if they do that anymore because they just have it locked down. Obviously, they need to have it locked down, how things are these days, but it's just cool, that they would put their kids actually in the agriculture field instead of just teaching them about it and telling them about it.
Well, just so you know that they still let kids do that.
Really?
Yes,
okay,
yes,
well, I'm
yes.
glad to hear that.
Mr. Schwartzfeger is a very good ag teacher, along with his wife, Mrs. Schwartzfeger, and they do an excellent job with that. And they still take kids over there, and they do a lot because coincidentally, our new building, I work for maintenance. I'm the courier for the district. Our building is a brand new building that they built right next to Old Ed by the college.
Yeah, my dad and my stepmom actually work in there too.
Oh,
so yeah.
Who is your dad and stepmom?
Casey Fort and Susan Fort.
Oh, that's your mom. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I did not know that.
Yeah. She was actually like, well, I'm cleaning out my office, so I have some decorations if you want some for yours. Because that was right when I was moving into my office. I was like, sure.
Yes, they're good people. They're good people. I had no idea that they're gonna be like, really, you didn't know that at all?
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where
it's small town.
Yeah,
obviously shows in every way.
Absolutely. So I'm gonna ask you some rapid fire questions if you don't mind. I kind of pulled up some.
I'll do my best.
Since you're the social media person for here, I just want to, you know the grounds better. Other than the general manager and the assistant general manager should know the grounds very well, but you're on the beat every time. They're dealing with all the situations. You're out there having a good time, I want to say. And so, and you do a good job, by the way. I watched your post. I have not made it to a Friday night thing, but you really do a good job advertising that. I just want to let you know. And so anyways, let's see. Let's go with, what are some hidden gems people should look for when they come here?
Well, if you're looking for antiques or vintage items, I would definitely recommend walking through our flea. They're concrete buildings with roll-up doors. Sorry, there's a dog over there, and I don't think it has an owner.
Oh, hello.
Distraction. I would definitely head over to our flea area. It has over 60 shops of antiques. I think some of them are handcrafted items, new items, so they're not all antiques. There's something for everybody, but I actually just found a 1970s antique Tonka truck that's a horse hauler, and it's
cool.
all metal, and it's a little rusted, but it looks so cool. And I was like, if I was the marketing coordinator and not walking around and everything, I probably wouldn't have saw it. But now it's the cutest little decoration in my house.
Yeah, I was gonna say you get the opportunity to walk around and see all the different things that people have to offer. And we had talked about my other two guests that came in, Curtis and Shelby. We talked about how people come from all over and they bring stuff from all over. What's the most bizarre thing that you've seen out here that somebody might be interested in?
I don't know if this is bizarre, but there's somebody on the end of Seashed that sells everything from belts to walkers to like the adult potty seats if you're hospitalized in your home, or like dog kennels. I bought some dinosaurs from them the other day for my son, so definitely maybe not like an individual item is bizarre, but it's cool and bizarre all the different items that one vendor could have.
Yeah, and that's the thing is you're gonna run into a lot of different things, and like I was saying earlier, you could have it's kind of randomized. Like if you look down this aisle we're on right now, I mean, you've got people they've got different household items to shoes and clothing. I mean, it's a big
Yeah.
I would say plethora of things, and but you do have everybody like on the produce aisles, some of the produce and stuff. There's also seafood. What are some of your favorite things around here at this market?
Well, I try not to buy them, but I like walking down Shed 1 and looking at all the puppies. I've only bought one so far, so I guess I'm doing pretty good.
Yes, you're containing yourself, I can tell you.
But it's also cool, I don't know if I can talk about this, but on Shed F, there's gun vendors and knives, and they have like new, but then also like antique, really old, cool stuff down there, and I think it's really cool just walking down and looking at that stuff.
Yeah, no, that's perfectly fine. I mean, it's here.
Yeah.
It's not like it's something we can't talk about. I mean, let's see. What's some advice that you would give? You try to make these videos so people are more educated and more aware of the surrounding area. What are some things that people can look forward to, or that they should check out?
Well, I am a fan favorite of our taco stand that's on our wholesale lot. She makes really good chicken flautas, so we get them almost every week. But we try to contain ourselves and limit ourselves. But there's also a good kettle corn lady on our main street. Yeah. And in the fall, she actually does caramel kettle corn too. So that's a fan favorite.
That sounds good.
People come just for her and will like stock up on her kettle corn every couple months, and because it freezes really good. Mm-hmm. So she'll say, well, I told everybody that I would be here, so I should have my regular customers coming today.
Yeah, I had said something earlier in a podcast about boiled peanuts, and some of the best boiled peanuts here. That's just like a staple of the community. Like, that's a southern thing, and it's one of those deals where everybody seems to. I just came back from the beach last weekend, and there was somebody selling peanuts on the beach. I mean, it's a staple of a southern treat, I guess you would say.
Yeah.
Now my son is a peanut allergy. He's got a peanut allergy, so we can't bring them around him, but I will partake in them when he's not around. Yeah. So, but like I said before, there's so many different things out here. I mean, it looks like maybe one vendor or the other would be selling the same stuff, but it's different, if that makes any sense. What are some of the challenges that you face making videos about the market and trying to make sure that you cover all the bases?
Well, I would say with any popularity, the more popular you get, the more negativity you're going to have in return. So, my job title and my role is really fun, but sometimes you still have to be able to, deal with the bad parts of it and people having negative things to say and just rolling with the punches. But generally, it's pretty easy. And, you have to deal with weather and I don't know what else. Mainly, it's all good things.
Well, that's the thing is you try to. I don't think anybody can. I mean, I've tried, and sometimes you can, but on a really, really, really busy day like today, it's hard to see every booth. Yeah. It's kind of hard to cover I think Curtis said 40 acres here. I mean, but only I know that the whole 40 acres is taken up, but round it up a little bit, and it's kind of hard to see everything, but you can always try.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I also try to do. I come out every week and take footage and pictures, and I try to focus on one area, and if I know I missed somebody, or if I didn't cover one area as good, then I'll try to get it next time to, try to make it as fair as possible.
What are some, you have people that make this a weekly routine? What are some of the things that make that happen?
What do you mean?
So like people that come here all the time, every week, they never miss a beat. Why do you think that is?
Well, there's not much to do in this town. I don't know if you know that. But I also truly believe the fruits and vegetables you'll find here are way better than you will in any box store or Walmart. It's definitely worth it. You might not get every vegetable that you need that week, but you can guarantee that they're going to be fresh and more tasty than in Walmart.
Right. Well, I'd like to say a lot of people, there's a big misconception about produce, because I used to do produce quite a bit for my buddy, and what I've noticed is, there's three things: you've got location, you've got price, and you've got availability. So it's like that triangle. Mm-hmm. And if you don't have, if you're in a bad spot in a bad location, well, the price goes up, or there might be a shortage. It's either way. It's that triangle effect. And it's hard to find stuff that's in season when it's not. You know what I mean? Like, you can't. It's hard to get a good watermelon in December. I mean, you can, but it's not going to be the best watermelon you can have.
Yeah, I counted last week. I think it was like at least six watermelon vendors. And yes, people are like, "Why do you need 6 different watermelon vendors?" Well, from the customer's perspective, you have 6 different varieties of watermelons, but also they're also competing for your business.
Yes.
So a lot of times I'll come in and say, "What if I don't need a whole basket of squash?" And they'll be like, "I'll let you have 3 and then just give me this much." So you can't go into Walmart and be like, can I just get this? Can I have a smaller price? So you never know. You might be able to get a deal. Not always, but you might be able to get a deal.
I would just tell people to freeze it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if they wanted I don't know, let's see, like green beans or something like that. Like, I can't eat a whole pound myself. I'm like, put them in another bag, freeze them.
Or can it.
Yeah, or can it. Yeah, exactly. So
Or share it with a neighbor.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many people I've had come up to me at the produce aisle, and they're like, and they always want to tell me this is hilarious. But they're like, this is not all for me. Like, I'm going to judge them. Like, wow, man, you going crazy with the green beans over there. And they're like, but it's not all for me. I'm picking up for my neighbor. I'm like, it's all good. I wouldn't even tell you if you were like indulging in that by yourself. I wouldn't say anything.
Hey, better fruits and vegetables than candy.
I know, it's way better for you too. So, I asked Shelby this too, and it seems like a no-brainer, but I'm gonna ask anyways, especially because you do a lot of social media stuff, and you know how the crowds are. Early bird or late shopper?
I would definitely say early bird. Yeah, because a lot of the vendors, you never know if they have a doctor's appointment or a family emergency, if they have to leave early. But the majority of our vendors leave by 2 o'clock, I'd say, or around 2 o'clock. Yeah. And you also get to beat the heat if you come early in the morning. So and then you can get lunch and then go home.
I was gonna say that's probably why it's a good thing to come when it's in the like the winter months or whatever. Then you can kind of get your shopping done. You're not sweating to death and all that. If you could describe Webster in one word, what would it be?
One word.
Now I'm really putting you on the spot.
Well, I was going to say Southern hospitality, but that's 2 words.
All right, we'll go with 2 words.
Hospitality, Southern hospitality. Okay. I guess I would say generous too.
Generous. Okay.
There's always somebody willing to help you out, and
yeah. Do you like the history behind all this? Like, I know a lot of the people who helped, pretty much found this place that are no longer here anymore, but got to be around them. And to me, it was kind of I don't know, it was a big deal. Like, it was very honorable. Like, it was an honor to know them, but it was also very nostalgic because we don't have that what we used to have anymore, and it's like that across the board. It doesn't matter if you're at the flea market or it's just in life in general. It's never going to be like it was. So I guess my next question is, what do you see Webster looking like in 10 years?
Well, I definitely love the history of it, and I find myself, especially with my job, whenever we do the newsletter that I try to put out bi-weekly, I'll look through our history book that we actually had published, since it has newspaper articles going back all the way to when we were first established, and it really is just awesome being able to look at each little aspect of the community and like all of the family names that go back generations that are still here and still rooted in the community in Webster. As far as 10 years in the future, I definitely think the village is going to be a lot closer, and which is good in part because a lot of the customers we get are from that area,
Right.
and the age group, it's definitely catered to them. Having
Right.
Mondays off. We just have to adapt with the times, and hopefully in 10 years we'll be bigger and better, and we'll all still be here.
Well, I was gonna, and there's a great chance of that. I mean, nobody knows what the future's gonna hold. Every day things happen and things change, and there's no way around it. It's just the way it is. But I do believe that change is good, and you can't have it forever the same way that you had it. I don't know if you noticed this or not, but remember when you were a kid and you go, you have a favorite television show or something like, I grew up on the 80s television shows, the sitcoms were like in full force then. And if you go back and you watch some of them, I watch them today and I'm like, wow, it's not as good as I remember it being, but it's still classic. Some of the topics are kind of like, they're a little outdated, like, it's like whatever you hear daily now instead of it being like a big deal. Like somebody smokes a cigarette for the first time and they're like, oh my God, on the next whatever, Johnny gets caught with a cigarette. And you're like, what is going on? But what I'm saying, what I'm getting at is now that's just, it doesn't really matter. And so I'm thinking, I'm hoping that like the things we hold close to us will stay that way. And even though they have changed, you're like, oh yeah, back then, this and that, I could get this for $1 or whatever, but it doesn't deter you from not coming back.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah, it's really cool. In our book, I guess weekly they would post in the newspaper like how much a bushel of green beans brought and like cucumbers and stuff, or our cattle report every week they would post it, and it's really cool to look back and obviously we knew the prices were completely different way back then.
Yeah.
And it's one thing to say, oh yeah, they were a lot cheaper back then, or you could get a Coke for like 25 cents or something, probably a lot cheaper, but it's really cool to actually look back on paper and see the exact prices, items brought, or the renovations that the market's done over the years, and you see a little glimpse of it and you're like, oh, that looks exactly the same, but then you look at other places and you're like, wow, there's a shed there now, and that wasn't even paved back then. So
well, and you also got to look at it this way too. Back in the 40s when the market was still fresh, we were just getting out of the Great Depression, and you think about it, they had like they had the I guess FDR became he had this organization called the WPA, and so WPA, and don't ask me the acronym for it, you have to look it up, but anyways, it was basically like his way of putting people back to work, like the New Deal. It was part of the New Deal, and so you have these people doing daily work, and I remember my buddy's granddad, who used to Marvin Fussell, he would say, $1 a day, that's all it was. They paid you $1 a day. I'm like, okay, $1 a day. You think, oh my gosh, they gypped those people, right? But think about how much bread was, or how much meat was to eat, your grocery items, whatever it was. It wasn't over $1, so they weren't getting gypped.
yeah.
It would be no different from, the scale has widened so far that it's there's no comparison. But we lose sight of that because we go, blah, blah, blah. this used to be cheaper. I remember when gas was 97 cents. Well, it really hadn't. If you think about the duration of time, it's only gone up $3-4.
Yeah.
You know, it's not $12. It could be worse. So you know, and that goes for the market as well. People come here and they want to say, "Oh, I want to get 2006 prices." Well, that's not how it works. You know? So you have to adapt, and everything. The vendors have to adapt. The customers have to adapt.
Yes.
So, having said all that, you know, I asked Curtis this: what is the biggest misconception about people visiting here before they even visit? Like, what is their mindset? Has anybody ever told you a mindset, like, have you heard through the grapevine, like, yeah, I'd like to go to Webster, but...
You're talking about visitors or vendors?
Visitors.
Okay. I don't know. I feel like a lot of people just don't know where Webster is.
Yeah.
They might have heard, you know, about the Webster flea market from their dad, or, you know, when they were kids, and a lot of them, I would say, don't even realize that we're still here.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, I used to go there as a kid. I didn't even know that place, you know, was still there. It might not look the same as when they were kids.
Yeah.
But yes, we're still here. We still have vendors, you know. We're still having a good time.
Well, and you know, the thing is, people, you know, like you said, if it's here and it's local, they go, I can go there anytime, just like the beach. You know, when people don't live here, they go, oh my gosh, if I moved to Florida, I'd be at the beach every day. No, you wouldn't.
Yeah.
You get tired of the beach after maybe a week. You would like it. It would be nice to look at. You're not going to be on the beach every day.
Yeah, just like if you were to say, oh, I wish I had a pool at the house, I would be in there every day. But then you just get busy, and life is really busy.
Tell me about it. I got a pool. I remember being a kid, we didn't have we had a couple of above ground pools every once in a while, you know, your Walmart special or whatever, you know, just to get you through the summer. And I remember saying to myself, man, if I ever, when I get older, I would love to have a pool, or I would just like to have a pool in general. And then again, I have a pool at my house. I'm pretty much the only one that gets in it, but it's not every day.
Yeah. I was also going to say, since COVID, a lot of people started online shopping. So they're like, oh, I miss the Webster flea market, but I can get that online and not have to leave my house. Well, going online shopping, yes, it's going to be delivered to you, but you'll probably find a better deal here. There's going to be some vendor that, you know, and it's their living. They make money off of it. That's how they pay their rent. That's how they pay their bills. So, you know, you're also benefiting the vendor coming here instead of buying online and supporting these big box, you know, stores.
You're also cutting out the middleman.
Yeah.
Because, you know, like, you know, Shelby was talking about the TikTok places, you know, like all the TikTok trends and stuff you can find. I'm sure you know about that as well, being a social media person. But you can come here and get the things that you can find on TikTok, and you don't have to wait the long duration of period for it to show up on your doorstep. Like, I mean, I bought something the other day. You know, the Meta glasses.
Oh yeah.
So they have them on TikTok, and I was like, I'm just going to get them just to see what they're like. They're pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Now they're not Meta, but I mean, I think I'm paying $200 just for the name Meta or Ray-Ban on the side of the glasses. But as a whole, as an experiment, sometimes you know, people are not. They want the name brand. That's all they want.
You're buying
is the
name.
Yeah, you are definitely buying the name. It's crazy, and it's a very psychological thing. It's all in your head.
Yeah.
You know, when you think you have to have this or that, you know, it's all in your head.
Yeah, and a lot of times the off-brand is a better quality anyway. You're just paying for the name.
There's a guy on TikTok, and I'm really bad with handles because it could be his page or it could be somebody else reposting it. But this guy goes around to like Walmart and he's like, "Hey, you can buy the the $12 bag of Tyson chicken bites, or you can get the great value." Well, guess who makes great value? Tyson chicken.
That same brand, yeah.
Yep, you're paying $7 more for the name Tyson. So it's very cool on that part if you are going and you want to save money or whatever. And then some people are just like, you know what? I don't care. You know, I want this brand. I don't care. You know, some people are snobs when it comes to like soft drinks. I'm one of them. You know, some of the knockoffs. Hey, I've drank my share of Czech cola growing up, but if I can have a regular Coke or like actual Coca-Cola or Pepsi, I have to do the zeros now. But if I'm not skipping on that. I can't skip on it. So, what are some things that you are looking forward to for the rest of the year as far as summer goes and into the fall?
As far as like here?
Yeah, as far as promotion wise. Can you leak anything?
Well, I would promote our Friday night at the market, but we're not having one in June or July. Big disappointment.
Okay.
But it's just too hot. But in August, we are having our back to school bash on August 7th.
Awesome.
For our Friday night market, and we're gonna have a glow foam party.
Oh, that's
Last
so
year
cool.
we had one, and it was a huge hit. The kids did not want to leave, so it's a really good time.
That's cool. Yeah, I've heard about those. Those are really, really cool. The kids like them. And I'm glad you said it because this will air in July. So it's going to be. I know we're a little ahead right now, but that's okay because that's the way it goes. But I wanted to promote anything in August or September, so that's good. You said August when?
7th.
August 7th. That's Friday.
Yeah, the Friday night at the market.
Awesome. So, all right, guys. Well, you have this was Lori Dodson. I was very, very adamant that I was told to make sure it's Dodson.
You didn't even have to say it. I knew what you were talking about.
No, that was from Shelby. She's like, apparently she's very somehow. Anyway.
It's because Dobson, it's not a bad name, but it's a Webster name.
Yeah.
And my husband's from Tennessee, so everybody just assumes that I'm part of the Dobson family.
Yeah,
and I'm like, no, it's with a D, Dodson. Now I'm saying it.
Yes, yeah, right. Well, it kind of just rolls off the tongue, you know. It blends very well, so that's okay. Well, Lori, I appreciate your time today. Thank you so much for having me out today. I appreciate this.
Anytime.
Thank you for reaching out, and we'll have to have you guys back. We'll have to do like maybe not a reunion, but like a little recap show and see how it's going out here because. Like I told Curtis and Shelby, wishing you guys the best of luck. And it's a great thing. I love the flea market. It's been a staple of our community for years. And but again, it's one of those things. We appreciate you.
I'm glad to have you out.
And we'll see you on social media, right? So, you want to plug some social media real quick?
I was just about to ask if
Oh,
I could.
sure, absolutely.
Well, I don't know our handles, but you can search Sumter County Farmers Market on TikTok, Instagram, and our Facebook. Those are our 3 main ones. Definitely TikTok. That's our goofy side. We post a lot of goofy, fun, but really cool videos of our cattle market and our flea market. And then the Facebook is where you'll find more of our informational stuff. And then you can also find a link at the top of our Facebook to sign up for our newsletter to stay up to date with any important information.
Gotcha. All right, well, we'll sign off. And before we go, I want to thank all our sponsors out there. Without your help and support and generosity, none of this is possible. So again, thank you so much for that. And until next time, guys, we'll see you down the road. Have a good one.